Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Christine Lozano on the line, and she's a creator, producer, and writer at CeeLo Productions, and this interview is part of our AFM series, so that's American Film Market, where we bring you the best of those that attended, participated, and really all of the above to AFM this year in Los Angeles, California / Century City. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to get into vertical dramas, and those things are hot and they're catchy, and a lot of people are watching them. So this is a fun topic. We've been talking about them often, and you were one of the only people at AFM that was out there with a product for that, which I find super interesting. So we'll get into that and more. But first, how was AFM? About the event, like what did you think about it this year?
Well, at first when you walk in through the doors of the hotel, it's a little overwhelming, but
it was a big year, right? It was real overwhelming.
Yeah, it was. And we got like 11 floors, not all floors, but up to the 11th floor, full of all these distribution companies, agents, everybody. But once you get a cup of coffee or everything that they offer there, then you're just in sort of beast mode, and you just go, okay, let's go. And one of the things that I really liked is that I went straight into a panel, because they had these really, really amazing panels. And I went into one and talking about financing and your strategy and all that stuff. And then after that, you're pumped. You're like, okay, I'm ready, let's go. Yeah. And then, then you're off to whatever meetings, I had beforehand. And then also just sort of what AFM is about is just meeting people, doing your whole spiel.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you get into writing? Like, were you always a writer? Where did that begin for you?
I started writing when I had a scholarship at Strasberg for acting, and I actually started writing in there, and that's where I actually wrote my first feature film. So I started writing there, when I was in acting school.
So what drew you to it? Like, at what point did you know you're like, okay, this is gonna be my thing? How did you know?
You know what? You really want me buzz. When I was going out for certain roles and auditions, I kept getting called in for the same stuff, and I was just like, there's got to be better stuff out there that either I could do or that I want to see. And I just started writing, and I always started, because my influences were like Christopher Guest, and I love sort of comedy of old school comedies like the 80s and the 70s, and so I just started writing comedy, and people were drawn to it, and I would do table reads, and then I got really good feedback. So I started with that, because I also, like I said, I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. I missed those comedies from the 80s, not necessarily the raunchy ones, but, everything across the board. I just missed that,
That's interesting. This might be a silly question, but I'm always just curious. Were you always funny growing up? Did you have that thing in you? Are you outwardly funny? Was it kind of part of your character and just you, or was it in your head? Like, what kind of funny were you, or are you?
Dry funny. What kind of funny am I? I always had like, one of the things I had a brother, but I would always pretend in my room, like you close the door, and I was singing with I'm going to age myself right now. I was singing with Donnie Marie, or I was like, singing with the Village People. I was just like, yeah, let's do it, And then my imagination was just crazy. And then watching movies, I would just, as a kid, just pretend like I was one of the Charlie's Angels. And then I just kind of, like I said, once I went to acting school, that filter that I really didn't ever really have kind of disappeared even more. And it just kind of started, just came out, so.
That's awesome. Let's get into what you're working on presently. So tell me about CeeLo Productions and really your vision for the company.
Yeah, well, we write a lot of features, a lot of comedies, but right now I'm working on the vertical drama. This is my first array into a drama. There are sprinkles of comedy in there just because, I love writing dialogue, and I write, like human nature, you watch when you're at a cafe or something. I don't know if you do this, but I love watching just human behavior. And Even if we
yeah.
don't try to be funny, we are sometimes, you know.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right, right. Even when you're not supposed to be, but it's just sort of like, and everyone will find this out because
the other day. Yeah, go ahead.
right. But also it's the holidays, so people are going to find this out more when you're at the dinner table with family. I mean, you know, if it doesn't come out then, I don't know when it will, but. Yeah, so it's working on that, and it's good. It's good for me to sort of branch out into that, and I guess it's the recognition for it has gotten pretty. I've gotten a lot from it, so that's good. That's good, as opposed to someone saying, "No, you got to just take the comedy." So, yeah.
Yeah. What do you like about Vertical? I haven't watched a bunch of them, but it's an interesting format to me, and I think it definitely is catering to it. It's just a testament to how people, you know, consume content in different ways. What do you think about them? Obviously, you wrote one, so like, what got you into even just the thought of like, hey, I could write or I want to write one of these?
That is right now. We're so lucky to be. And AI aside, we're not even going to start talking about that. But you know, we're so lucky that anyone can make anything. You got your phone. You can buy a camera for cheap. It's not like the 80s where you had to really, you know, buy this really heavy thing and lug it around and try to do it. Now you can do anything at any point. And I think now is like a great time just to be creative and just to do whatever it is you feel like and not have to worry about who's going to see, who's going to pick it up. Just start using your creativity in a grand way. You know, for writing features, it takes money and it takes time and, you know, it takes a lot to do it. And that is something that eventually can and will be done. But in order just to keep your presence, I mean, one of the great things, shorts are great as well, but that's still, it's a lot to do it. Verticals, it is a lot. Don't get me wrong, it is. But my whole thing is, like, I heard about it from a friend in New York. They're huge in Asia. New York got on board, I like to say before LA did. LA, like I'm saying, like maybe the beginning of this year, they're like, oh, okay, this is making a lot of money. So let's start getting divisions. Let's start getting little offices where we can do it. But I'm going to be honest with you, no one really knows what to do with it yet. How do we make money? Everyone's looking at real shorts. And, you know, yes, but my thing was like, well, I can do this. And this is going to sound horrible. And I can do it better. No, I can do it, but I don't want to.
Well, no, I don't. Hold on. I'm not against that statement, by the way, because this is how we progress in society. Like, when people are always like, you know, well, I don't want to. I'm like, no, do that. Like, if you have it in you to where you want to progress in art form, like, more power to you. I don't have it in me. I'm like, go for it. You can do it better. Do it.
You know, 100%, and that's where, you know, because I want to pitching this out here, because right now I'm filming it in Texas, so we're out here in Texas. So I won this pitch fest because I guess, you know, my enthusiasm was like, well, we're going to do it even better because, and this is nothing to what people like romance and everything like that, and you know what real stuff is going on. Obviously, they're making great money off of it, but it's glossy. It's like Twilight on steroid, and I'm like, no way. There's got to be somebody out there that's like, I wish there was something else. And here we are. So, you know, with Bird Dog it's a spy thriller. It's gritty. You know, I wanted to look completely different than sort of that really glossy bubblegum looking thing. And, you know, be for a different demographic. Be for, you know, I mean, I see who's watching our stuff because right now we've just been doing promos. And it's mostly males, 18 to 34. And that was one of the pitching, you know, things I did at AFM, and everyone was like, really? Because, you know, males are usually playing games or watching sports on their phone. So it was kind of an eye-opener, and that's my whole goal for the vertical. It's really not that much easier, per se, than doing a short. It is than a feature, but, you know, it's just each episode is like, 3 to 4 minutes. Ours it could be shorter. But, you know, you still have to find a great crew, and you still have to find, I like to find great actors. We do have great actors. Some of the verticals you see, it's questionable. But, you know, I'm aiming for something that people can want to watch and, you know, like a good thriller, tune in the following week and actually even almost rewatch it again in case they missed something, you know?
Yeah, love it. I think it's interesting. I think that it's going to continue to evolve, just like everything evolves, right? Like there's going to be different things. There's going to be people like yourself that get into it and they like start poking around and start improving things, changing things, and new formats are going to appear. And to me, I don't know. I know some people against it. I shouldn't use the word against, but you know, people fear everything, right? And they're like, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. To me, it expands the market. I'm all for if people, you know, ultimately the market is still your audience and the audience, and you need eyeballs and you need people that are willing to exchange money for their time and attention, period, because that's what all of entertainment runs on some level, right? So to me, it widens the market. Like I'm okay, you know.
There are people that poo-poo it, but I will say this. I mean,
for sure.
The entertainment, the community is big enough for everybody, but also what's going on with the studios right now, people just wanting to safe and do certain IPs. That's why I just stress, there's no reason why you cannot be creative this day. Anybody can go out there with their phone, whatever, and start creating on their phone. And people used to poo-poo soap operas, and they're still going. I mean, you know, so, you know, and people would poo-poo, you know, when the internet came up. People poo-pooed cell phone. I mean, you know, in the beginning it is that, but when you look at the statistics, people are on their phone over 80% of the day. And, you know, rather than what's happening now is rather than paying for streaming, because now streaming, a lot of things are going into bundles and having to pay so much money for everything that it's like, oh, well, hey, there's this on my phone while I'm waiting on the bus or waiting on that, you know. And it is what it is. That's where we're at now.
Yeah. It's great. Well, it's been a lot of fun talking today and getting to know more about what you're working on, Christine. If somebody's listening or watching this and if they want to connect, watch your work or follow your journey, how do they do that?
You can see my stuff at Instagram is at Christine Lozano, Lozano _photography. And you'll hear about Bird Dog through there and you know, and just everything that's happening.
That's awesome. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters, this is a daily show. Yes, you heard me correct, a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So hit that subscribe button. It's a daily show, so we don't want you to miss any of the upcoming episodes. We have a lot more great stuff planned. And Christine, again, appreciate you coming on, and thanks again for making some time for us.
All right. Thank you.